them to realize that bugs aren't something to be scared of, to get used to handling them, learning more about what fascinating creatures they are, even though they're very small. You know, people often think of a bug as something you just squish, but you're actually squishing a lot when you do that. And also I think the good things that bugs do for us and also the bad things that bugs do for us. So their two big major projects are, one is doing their insect collection, which helps them get an understanding of the diversity of these creatures. And then their other project is looking at what kind of diseases they transmit, so they can get an idea of, you know, some of the terrible things that go on in terms of disease, like malaria, you know, killing thousands of people a day on a daily basis. So that's, you know, a better appreciation of the world of the bug. You hope that they're taking everything in. You hope that they're still being little sponges, but they're not always little sponges.
Right.
But when I had a guest speaker come in today and he was asking them questions, I was very proud that they could also spew back all the anatomy of the bugs and all of that kind of thing. The other thing is, we watched a movie on Saturday called Bugs Life. You've probably seen that.
Sure.
And we had this interesting conversation afterwards about what was entomologically correct about the movie and what was entomologically not correct. And I was really amazed by their perception of the depth of some of their comments. One thing I always struggle with though, always struggle with this class and last year's to a certain extent, you're dealing with kids who have a range like this, you know. So for example, I requested a paper assignment for their disease assignment, and you know, one of the students who's a very hard worker said, I really struggled with this because I've never written a report more than 1 page before. Whereas I was asking for a 4 to 6 page typed report. So you have to kind of have come to some kind of equilibrium with each child in terms of assessing that particular student. You cannot assess them against another student. It's really in terms of how they grow and develop during the course, and that's what I'm trying to do. So, for example, they got their second exam back today, you know, and I was really pleased with some of the students who'd done really badly the first time, that they had really improved, and to me that was important. Not that they got a straight A, but they did better. I think they love being out in the field. I think they do seem to be enjoying the class. They don't like being sitting in the classroom for long periods of time. Okay, so I definitely cannot sit and yap to them for too long. They get very restless and, you know, okay. But they do enjoy it. They're so full of energy. So anything that requires energy, they love doing that. They particularly like doing the work that we did with the stream, because they all could jump into the water and they were all fishing around for all the different kinds of insects that you find in streams, so they like that. That's another thing about the class as well, is that certain kids are much more tolerant of heat than other ones, and again you have to take all that into account when you go on field trips. So there's a couple of kids who like going into the field, but they have their limitations. You know, they can't be running around catching insects all the time. These students do not yet have the ability, or a lot of them don't have the ability to stay as focused as a college student. You know, a college student, that's what you have to do, and the average college student will focus on that task, right? So I find that they're not always as focused as I would think that they would be. What they have that a lot of college students don't have is they have this great enthusiasm. You know, you ask a question, I know that. And whereas in a college class, you ask a question and everybody just, you know, So they're always very, you know, very excited about letting you know what they know. I actually find college students easier to teach.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm more used to them. I find JBA students very, very demanding to teach because they demand a lot more from you as a teacher. You know, you can't just tell them, oh, just go and sit down and write your essay. You know, it's a much more demanding occupation. So I guess because I'm used to college students more, I think that they need to get a taste of what it's like being a college student. All right. So there's certain things that I think that they should learn about, like that day you're in the classroom with me. I think they need to be respectful of, you know, the space, that this is a working space, that there's other, you know, students there. I'm hoping that, you know, just from my expectations of them, they know that when they go to college, it's a big jump up from school. To me, that is probably the biggest advantage of them doing JBA. And then I would say also, they're being taught by professors who are experts in the field, and I think would get a lot more in-depth knowledge about a certain topic than they would ever be able to get at school, is my understanding of it. I think my big disadvantage, though, dealing with JBA students is I have never been through the American school system. I went through the English school system, which is a totally different thing.
Right.
You know, much more discipline. You know, much more. The curriculum is much more, you know, sort of down the line. So I'm not always quite sure what kind of background I'm dealing with, educational background I'm dealing with. Yeah, I'm learning as I go along because I have 2 children who are going up now through grade school, so I know what to expect. But they're 9 and 11, so I need to wait till they're teenagers and then, you know, find out. So yeah, to cut a long story short, yeah, I think that's what they say about JBA. It's a college experience. In a college experience, you have to have expectations, and that's what I think is important. And also, oh my gosh, you know, learning about all these cool things that you probably won't ever learn about at school. Pursue it further is what I would recommend. So, for example, what I feel I've done is given these students, for example, the tools. So they make their own little insect collection. Okay, don't just put it in the drawer and forget about it and let the bugs eat it. Take it further, you know, take it further. I would also recommend that should the opportunity ever arise, to just go to a university near you, go visit with some of the professors and ask them, can I help in your lab over summer? Because I'm hoping that they realize after being with us that professors are actually approachable people and that we do like people to help us who are enthusiastic. So that's some of the things I would recommend.